Do you ever use tables? I'm sure you do. Functionally, tables are one of the most useful things ever. They let us keep things off the floor, give us a place to work, and they even act as storage for older things we don't know where to put. We thought about what was at the core of the table's usefulness, and it struck us. It was the table's ability to simply hold things up undisturbed. So, we quickly got to work designing a table that would collapse and drop everything when it sensed you put something on top. Truly a useless table and a useless invention. To start, we needed a large surface that we could use to build the collapsing tabletop. At first, we thought about using a real tabletop, but with the time and budget constraints, as well as 3/4 of our group members having an assignment due last night, we decided to do something on a smaller scale. Using clipboards that we cut apart using a hacksaw and an old Lucky Charms box, we constructed the table. The collapsing functionality, or better yet, dysfunctionality, was made using servo motors at each end, which could be triggered by a motion sensor in the middle. To power and control the physical mechanisms, we made use of an Arduino Uno. We set the motion sensors up to sense anything within the width of the table, and once something came within its line of sight, it would trigger the motors to drop the tabletop. Then, after a time delay, return it back to normal.
But only when it's like close enough, right?
Yeah.
So if my hand is like here, it won't trigger it.
So what we do is...
Oh, it triggers it? Okay!
Our largest challenge this entire time was the time constraint. With 3/4 of our group members having an assignment due last night, we had to spend most of our time scrambling to get those done. After that, we could get to work. Also, we had a shipping issue where Amazon made the executive decision to simply not send us our motors. We had to end up running to a store and grabbing some last night. And those motors turned out not to even be real servo motors. They were just step-down regular motors with a whole bunch of useless gears inside. The next time we do something like this, we'll definitely use more motors, or stronger motors at least, so that we can get a more precise, powerful, and controlled collapsing motion. We would also buy more physical materials for the table frame, so we wouldn't need to rely on an old Lucky Charms box for the legs. Here's our wonderful but somewhat small device in action. Hopefully, going forward, we can actually make something better of this. So, while we call this Abyss Mark 1, let's say Abyss Mark 2 is in production. And, for being something we put together in 5 hours, we think it's pretty cool.